What it comes down to is there's two types of people in the world. Those who are most afraid of terror, those who are most afraid of global warming. Now, you can put me in the terror camp. I can't worry about the earth right now. I'm too worried about the world. And the thing that worries me the most in the world is radical Islam, obviously, and increasingly, might I add, moderate Islam, because I'm starting to wonder when you guys are going to declare a fatwa on the assholes within your own organization, all right? Now listen up, Care, and everybody out there. I don't have any problem with your faith. I don't even know that much about it. I wouldn't know what the fuck Episcopalians did either. It's time for you to start tightening up your own shit. We can't do it. We can't sit in with you because we look like Johnny Winter with the Wu-Tang Clan. Because like I said, most of us don't care about your faith. We don't have an axe to grind with your faith. But we are starting to bridle at how you treat your women. I don't like how you fucked up Cat Stevens. And you know something? Now, as far as this mosque at Ground Zero, can they build it? Of course you can. You know you can. Should you? You know you shouldn't. It's bad manners. It is bad manners for you to do that there because of the people who died there. And we don't trust the guy who fronts that movement down there, Imam Celine Dion's husband, or whatever the hell his name is. And now we're going to let Iran get nuclear weapons? Iran? Are you kidding me? You ever see the stock footage of them walking around their nuclear plant? Look on the walls over their shoulders and note the righty-tighty, lefty-loosey poster. Christ. You know what's going to happen here. Netanyahu, who lost his brother at Entebbe, is going to go so far, and then he's going to put the big portobello over Iran. And guess what? Whether we like it or not, we're going to have to back his play. Now listen, do I understand everything about the Jews? No, of course I don't. I'm not of the faith, and I sometimes wonder why did Israel choose to set up shop in the one place in the entire fucking neighborhood that doesn't have oil 4 feet under the surface? The Jews. But what do you think Israel's thinking when they see our president say that NASA, our space program, their main goal was Muslim outreach? You see these parades in Iraq and Iran on a daily basis, these madmen with their faces all covered, burning our flag, burning effigies. Does it look to you like space travel's a prereq for them? You see any rocket scientists in those parades? Muslims will want to go to the moon when the Jews set up Israel there. We got to start speaking candidly to each other about this shit, or we're going to get blown up again. We've got to use our heads. Of course Guantanamo Bay has to stay open. And I think Obama knew that too. And thank God, thank you, Mr. President, for keeping it open. Now let's think twice about bringing Khalid Sheikh Mohammed here to be tried on Judge Judy, okay? Guantanamo Bay works. You know, I've been down there to perform for the troops. It works like a Swiss watch. Now, to go down there, first off, you have to fly around the island and come in the backside. Castro won't let you fly over the island proper because, God forbid, we see some of their jet age secrets. So you fly in around the back of the island, you bank out of the clouds, you come into Guantanamo Bay. There it sits, the most beautiful soccer field you've ever seen in your life. All these guys out there in the afternoon playing soccer. I talked to the chef on the island. He tells me that the average weight gain for all the detainees is 20 pounds over the course of their stay there. What sort of cosmic bunny hole have we fallen through? Our fucking enemies are gaining weight. Now they want to bring them back here, but guess what? The terrorists won't come to certain places here. Their lawyers have stipulated they won't go to Leavenworth, Kansas, because there's no on-site medical facility at the prison there. Thank God somebody's thinking. The prisoners are bridling, because they don't want to get there, and each year they have to all pile into the Westphalia van and head into downtown Topeka to see old Doc Johnson for their physical. Hey, Doc, this is Ramses. He took his eye out with a spork because he saw a chick's ankle. Can you patch him up? What kind of coverage you have, son? Blue Cross Blue Scimitar? Let me get an indent on that car. He was never going to get rid of the Patriot Act either. You know why? We can't. Because you can say anything when you're running for president, and then you get in there and you got to get serious. They allow you to do two things the first day you're president. First, you're allowed to give a titty twister to the alien corpse from Roswell. And then they open up the, hey, here's how really fucked up it is binder. And at that point, you get serious about shit like the Patriot Act and Guantanamo Bay, and we have to. We've got a perfect storm brewing now. You know that. We are not at our best at this moment. We have turned into a mincing, politically correct Leviathan, and our enemies are truly primitives. I have a friend who's a realtor in Tehran at an organization called Century 4, and he... He told me the only reason we're not all decapitated is because we've got our heads up our asses. And we have for around 30 years now, starting with Jimmy Carter, who pushed us down this road. And the rest of the roster over there is looking pretty shaky, too. Joe Biden, there's sometimes he's so off the rails, I can't tell if he's crazy or I actually like him. All I know is that when somebody was putting those hair plugs in, corkscrewing them into the front of his head, they severed a discernment lobe because this guy has no parking brake. Barney Frank, huh? Well, here's a cute story. You know, when Barney's boyfriend ran the male prostitution service out of his condominium way back when you called in to procure services from the boyfriend, the code you had to use over the phone, people were listening, to tell them whether or not you were submissive or dominant was, in fact, Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. Is that unbelievable? Oh, huh? Yeah. And that brings us to my personal favorite, Cruella Demented. The great Nancy Pelosi. The whistle on that train of thought, barely audible off in the distance. You know, the best nickname for her is a caller to my Westwood One radio show called in, and her name is Ann, Ruth Ann from North Carolina. I wanted to get the name right because it was so brilliant that I have to share it with you. She thinks that Pelosi is a Bond villain, and she calls her Pelosi Galore. Perfect. Oh, Ruthie, I wish I had thought of that doll, but what is it that bugs me about Pelosi? She always looks like she's perpetually witnessing the docking of the Hindenburg in Lake She always looks like she's pulling 7 Gs in a wind tunnel test or something. Can you believe she was actually the Speaker of the House of Representatives? It's unbelievable. Every time she opens her mouth, I shake my head so rapidly you could blend paint colors in my mouth. I'm going to miss her once a year at the State of the Union. That was my favorite night, when she'd sit there over the president's shoulder. Have you ever seen anybody put that much thought into doing absolutely nothing? She would sit there alternatingly blinking like the Yul Brynner robot on a rainy day at Westworld, and then she'd go dead-eye like the shark eating Robert Shaw in Jaws. and then she'd hit the power on the twitch rate again, go back up. What is that twitch rate? It makes a hummingbird's wings look positively glacial. Did you hear her opening statement at the Obamacare summit? She sounded like Professor Irwin Corey explaining the infield fly rule in Farsi while under the influence of an amyl nitrate ampule. Nancy Pelosi is thicker than a Charlie Sheen prenup. And she is crazy, batshit crazy. I guarantee you that woman sleeps upside down.
Going back a few years, do you regret questioning President Obama's citizenship? Why or why not?
Not even a little bit. I don't regret it. Why would I regret it? He came out with a book that wasn't published. You remember the famous book, and it said a young man on the cover, a young man from Kenya. I offered him a tremendous amount of money just to show his I didn't want to see his marks. I just want to see place of birth. So look, there are three things that could happen. And one of them did happen. He was perhaps born in Kenya. Very simple, okay? He was perhaps born in this country, but said he was born in Kenya, because if you say you were born in Kenya, you got aid and you got into colleges. And people were doing that. So perhaps he was born in this country, and that has a very big chance. Or, who knows? Maybe it was all right. Now, I offered $5 million to just see the records. And I'll tell you what, he would have done a great service, because there are millions of people. There are people in this country. I walk down the street and they're saying, please don't give up on the whole thing with the birth certificate. Now, I hope that it's 100% fine. A lot of people are questioning the birth certificate. They're questioning its authenticity. But I do say this. I offered $5 million just to see some basic records. Not the marks, not this, nothing. Just some basic things on applications to colleges. I'd love to see what's put down. Why didn't a man take $5 million for his favorite charity? Now then, what wasn't reported by the press is sometime just prior to the expiration date of that offer, I raised the offer to $50 million. $50 million for charity. Pick your charity, $50 million. Let me see your records. And I never heard from him. So I would take it. I would take it, and I'd give it to Chicago charities, and I'd give it to all sorts of charities, and they can use the money. So it's one of those three things. Either it's fine, or he was born in Kenya, or, in my opinion, there's a very good chance he was born here and said he was born in Kenya. Because if you were born in Kenya, you got into colleges, and you got aid. Very simple.
Fired amidst ongoing IRS corruption, the disgraced bureaucrat Lois Lerner has been hiding out in her ritzy neighborhood outside Washington, D.C., reportedly enjoying a government pension of $100,000 a year. We caught up with Ms. Lerner and asked if she regretted going after conservative organizations. But she was so desperate not to answer any questions that she actually tried to bust into a neighbor's home, uninvited. It seems like somebody doesn't appreciate being targeted herself. Aww.
Chance to apologize, Ms. Lerner. You didn't hesitate to target conservatives, but you're hesitating to speak. Why? You don't like being targeted, do you? Any idea where those missing emails are? Any idea, Ms. Lerner, where those missing emails are? We have 2 years worth. Maybe just an apology. You targeted conservative groups?
I know. I kind of broke it. I mean, I've had surgery. Can you? I know. Yes, I know.
You targeted conservative groups. Just an apology? I'm sorry. I use my position as a government official to try to crack down on political dissent. You don't feel bad that you were using the government as a weapon to try to crush political dissent? Anything, Ms. Lerner?
Could you call the police, please?
Oh,
Could you call the police? Thank you.
you don't like being targeted. Doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good, huh? But you targeted conservatives.
Please.
Not even an apology.
These guys are the press, and they are not leaving me alone. I just want to come in for a second.
Oh, why should we leave you alone?
Can I go in the garage?
You were trying to use the IRS to crush political dissent.
What? Thank you.
You can see why many individuals think you're a disgrace to public service, right?
I really need to come in for 1 second.
What are you doing here?
These guys are not leaving me alone. They're from the press. They're following me. I just want to go in your house for 1 second, please.
What?
I was talking to your wife.
She's trying to get in your house. She doesn't want to answer questions
I don't want
about.
her in the house.
I know you.
I wouldn't blame you. I don't blame you. I wouldn't want her in my house either. She might bring the government after you. Any idea where those missing emails are? Are you hiding them? Nothing, huh? Are we gonna try another?